it's Mia, and welcome back to my channel. If you watched my previous video, then you'll know a while ago I was in a bit of an art funk, or whatever you want to call it. I just wasn't motivated to do any kind of traditional art, but back in August I got an email from VIVIVA Colors, or is it VIVIVA? I'm not sure, someone let me know in the comments. But VIVIVA Colors, it's a family-owned company, and they make handcrafted watercolors and sketchbooks. But they reached out to me and asked if I wanted to try out a few of their products, and I said sure. I figured, it would inspire me to create again. And I didn't get to test these watercolors out until last month, but now I'm focused and inspired. So let's try out these VIVIVA watercolors. The first item is a watercolor pan set. It comes with 16 light, fast, non-toxic colors, and the palette is made from cork, which is biodegradable. You can write your name on the cover of this watercolor set, and when you turn it to the other side, it serves as a mixing area. The set I have is VIVIVA's original watercolor pan set. And if you go to the website, vivivacolors.com, you can also find another pen set with a spring palette, and those colors are just as lovely. Speaking of spring palettes, the second item I received is the VIVIVA color sheets that contain spring-inspired colors. And if you go back to the website, the color sheets come in a few different palettes to choose from. You have original, fall or autumn, metallic, and sketchers. But yeah, when you open up the cover on the back, there are tips on how to use these color sheets. And on the other side, there's a place to write your name and Instagram handle. There's a total of 16 colors, and you can see there's wax paper in between the pages so that the colors don't get cross-contaminated. And let's see, the back cover converts into a mixing area. Last, we have the VIVIVA watercolor sketchbook. It's an A6 size sketchbook, which is 4 by 6 inches or 10 by 15 centimeters. It contains 40 pages. The paper is acid-free, cold pressed in 140 pounds, 300 GSMs. On the website, the paper is noted to be handmade from cotton rag paper, which I have never heard of, but I googled it, and apparently it's this cotton rag paper. It's made from used cloth. Interesting. So now that we went over what I got, it's time to swatch the colors. I'm starting with the pen set, and as you can see, the colors are vivid. I don't care about the swatch card because it just seemed like the colors were just sitting on top of the swatch card paper, but the colors did show up nicely in the sketchbook. Next up, we have the watercolor sheets, and I actually prefer the pigment from these because the colors just appeared more rich and vivid to me. Now it's time for my opinion. Let's start with the sketchbook. I love the faux leather and the silver lettering on the front cover, but I'm not a fan of the paper. It absorbs the water way too fast. I actually thought this was hot pressed paper at first, so you can imagine how surprised I was to find out that this was actually cold pressed paper. And I mainly use cold pressed watercolor paper. Arches is my favorite, followed by, I think it's pronounced Meeden, and then Canson. But this particular cold pressed paper is not for me. Like I said, it absorbs the water way too fast, and it's difficult doing, watercolor stuff like letting two different colors blend into each other to create a soft transition or gradient. But yeah, the paper isn't terrible per se. I think it would be great for someone who doesn't want to wait forever for their watercolor to dry. If you prefer fast drying watercolor paper, or if your method of using watercolor is to do simple washes or glazing, then this sketchbook may be a good option for you. Since I'm not a fan of the sketchbook, I'm using my own. It's Canson XL watercolor sketchbook, 140 pounds, 300 GSMs. This isn't as good as Arches, but it cooperates well with the watercolor and it does what I want it to do. Now let's talk about the watercolor. I'm using the pan set. I like the colors of the color sheets more, but I just didn't want to deal with flipping back and forth to different pages. And to be honest, I don't have a lot of experience with watercolor sheets. I've used ones in the past where the color sheets are loose and individual. They kind of look like a deck of cards and you just have to make sure you don't lose any of them. Personally, I like to see all of my watercolors in front of me, but if I were to use these watercolor sheets regularly, I would use these VIVIVA color sheets because they're in a booklet form and I wouldn't have to worry about losing any of the colors. Overall, I think these watercolor sets I got from VIVIVA Colors are great. This is my first time ever using products from this company, and it's been a very good first experience. I really love the idea of using cork to create the palette for the pen set. Besides being safe for the environment, it makes the product look unique and stand out among other small watercolor sets that are usually in small metal containers. Another thing that I like about the pen set is that it's flat, very lightweight, and portable. Same thing goes for the watercolor sheets. You have a lot of different colors and it's convenient to take out into public with you. Last thing is I like the affordability of the products. Watercolor pan sets and color sheets range from $22 to $25 and the sketchbooks range from $12 to $24. I want to thank VIVIVA Colors for sending me these watercolors and the sketchbook. I really appreciate it. I also want to thank you guys for stopping by. And I'll see you in the next video. Alright, bye.